Hey, everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to PHLY Flyers postgame presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Certainly not an ordinary one. I'm Bill Matcha, Director of Funny Games. That's Charlie O'Connor. You know us. What an absolutely ridiculous game we just watched. Boring as hell through 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And then 9 goals in the third period. Flyers, quote unquote, win 8-5 with 13 minutes remaining in the third period. JT Miller scores his 20th of the year to put the Rangers up 4-3. A minute later, Flyers score, retie it, and then this game just becomes abso-freaking-lutely unhinged. Tyson Foerster scores a hat trick, so as ridiculous as this might be, I know a lot of us very annoyed. The Flyers, have now won 4 out of 5 since dismissing John Tortorella. The tank, I realize
other teams are winning too, by the way.
Yeah,
let's
not killing them.
Let's not go crazy here.
It's not killing them. Because Buffalo has been winning a ton. Boston seems to have at least steadied the ship after losing 10 straight. 1 out of 20 points in that run for Boston, but I think they've won like 2 maybe since then. So it's not like the end of the world here, but it is just like, of course, now you choose this. But that Rangers team doesn't want to make, legitimately, I think they don't want to make the playoffs. It would be annoying to them to have to play 4 or 5 extra games this year. And did this eliminate them, Charlie?
Yes.
So they're done.
Yes.
That team sucks. Like, the Flyers are not good. And they just gave up 8 goals to them. That was horrendous hockey.
No, the difference between the two teams is that the Flyers should be bad.
Yeah.
You look at their roster they have now. You look at what has been done to it over the course of the year, the fact that it wasn't that great to begin with, and then they gutted it. The Flyers should not be winning games the rest of this year. They shouldn't win many of them. The Rangers are not this bad.
No.
That game, watching this purely as not as a Flyers fan invested in them losing because of loss purposes, purely as a hockey fan, that game was an embarrassment to watch the New York Rangers on national television at home, still in the playoff race. They were not eliminated. Now, yes, it was unlikely, but they were not eliminated. To watch them just completely collapse onto themselves in the third period of a game that otherwise they had controlled in the first 2 periods. They had controlled that game. They were the better team. And then in the third period, it just seemed like they collectively decided, nah, we're good. That's the kind of game, watching that from the perspective of someone who doesn't really care about the outcome, that's the kind of game that should get everyone fired. Yeah. That was an embarrassment from the Rangers. I can't if you want to be a Flyers fan and get mad that they won that game, sure, you can. But to me, that game was more about the Rangers being pathetic and just desperately trying to hand the Flyers the game. And again, what's their incentive? The Flyers have an incentive. The Rangers' incentive is what? We hate everyone running our team? Yes. That's embarrassing. And it's embarrassing.
And I know the ancillary stuff might not matter, especially to current players. What the hell does, Artemi Panarin care about Sam Rosen? But this being a nationally televised game in which the entire broadcast is dedicated to honoring this longtime Rangers announcer.
It was a national broadcast that was actually a Rangers broadcast.
It was a local Rangers broadcast on TNT.
That we just had to watch. We just had to watch and pretend that it wasn't a Rangers broadcast.
I guess that
was ridiculous.
That little bit, the fact that the whole broadcast was dedicated to Sam Rosen, and
it's a very nice thing to do, but what about the other team?
They don't care. But just the idea that entire thing happened, and it's basically a Rangers broadcast and all of this, and then it eliminates the Rangers from the playoffs. And it was just straight up embarrassing on their home ice. I guess I could take a little solace in that.
They embarrassed themselves.
Yes, absolutely.
The Flyers are
the Flyers didn't
the
embarrass
Flyers
them.
are the team that should be embarrassing themselves given everything they've gone through this season. And instead it's the Rangers who like, oh, I'm sorry, you don't like your GM. You know what? You could have still made the playoffs.
Yes.
So like play with some freaking guts. That was like that pained me to watch as a fan of hockey. Like, that was awful.
There's the still rebuilding Montreal Canadiens are going to make the playoffs over this New York Rangers team.
They won the President's Trophy last year.
They were the best team in the regular season last year, and they might not crack 80 points. I would be very surprised if they win another game this year based on what we just saw.
I really hope that the National Rangers broadcast after this game rake them over the coals because they deserve it. That was a joke.
It's funny because JT Miller is on the team, but I was just thinking, like, the Flyers did not just embarrass the Rangers. The Rangers just went out, and it's like that Miller-Parayko fight in Four Nations. Like, after the Kachucks fight.
Sure.
Like, he's, okay, who wants some? Drops his gloves, and Parayko answers, and JT Miller just ends up punching himself in the face. The Rangers collectively just punched themselves
in the face.
They did. Until Foerster finished off the hat trick. The headline of tonight's show. And listen, hit that like button. I didn't tell you yet, and 31 is unacceptable 6-7 minutes into the show. Disappointed in all of you, the way Sam Rosen should be disappointed in the Rangers. The headline of the show was going to sarcastically be Aleksei Kolosov outduels Hall of Fame bound John Quick.
Well, he did.
I guess he did. Kolosov, weird game for him. Because the first two periods, he was mostly okay. Like, the Panarin goal, yeah, he could have played it better, but also, I don't know, maybe don't get undressed, Yegor Samula. Like,
true.
You know, maybe the entire middle of the ice shouldn't be wide open for one of the best wingers in hockey to just walk through and bury a goal. But, like, stopped 11 of 12 in the first, looked decent, made some big saves. Like, the first attempt, or first could have been shot, but he just missed, is a freaking penalty shot against him. He gets a couple of breakaways against him in the first. He looked okay. Stopped 9 of 10 in the second. Panarin's goal was nice. Then he gives up 3 on 7 shots in the third. He ends up with an .828 save percentage, 24 out of 29. What the hell did you make of Kolosov in his return tonight, Charlie?
Well, I mean, the Brzezinski goal, I'm not going to kill him for. That one got deflected in by Dowart. So, like, whatever. I get that, like, that's going to be difficult. The Miller goal... It's a one-timer, but you have time to get over.
Yeah.
No, and again, like, this is why I understand if Flyers fans are frustrated they won this game. But the Flyers did everything they could to lose this game. Like, we were talking about it after the game ended. The goal they give up with the empty net. The entire team is cheating up ice to score when you're protecting a lead.
The lowest Flyer is at the blue line.
Yeah.
And you're trying to protect a lead. They're not trying to win.
That was so sloppy.
Yes.
And they still win because the Rangers were that embarrassing. Like, Kolosov, I might still give him a star because whatever. You know,
honestly,
he made some saves, which was pretty good in the first 2/3 of the game. And I don't know. Who cares? Like, really, who cares?
I know, Charlie. I know. We have to fill an hour.
I know.
We are contractually obligated. Now, like, this game, I don't, like, yeah, he was good for the first 2/3, Kolosov was. He hasn't played in the NHL since January 2nd, like we said on pregame. I still have no idea what they can ultimately, like, do with him long term. Like, we were talking off the air. If his first year in North America, he refuses to spend the season in the AHL.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to cave.
Why would he be like, oh, no, my second year,
now I'll do it.
I'm going to go to Allentown because I now like it? Like, I very much don't know, and we can get into that conversation, but just for right now, do you think he gets another game? Just let's start there. Do you think he plays again for the Philadelphia Flyers this season?
I would give him another game because why not? You want to see what you have in these young guys. They're still gathering information. Now, we might think we know what Aleksei Kolosov is. I truthfully don't.
I have no idea.
I know what he is this season, which is bad.
Yeah, not ready for the NHL.
I don't know what he is going to be in a year, in 2 years, in 3 years. I don't know. Can't hurt to give him more games. And again, it obviously helps the fact that you're trying to solidify draft position. Would I give him every game? No. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't play him both games of the back-to-back, but I might give him one of the 2 games of the back-to-back and then maybe give him the finale. Like, it wouldn't... If this is it for Kolosov, whatever, I get it. But I would probably give him at least one more game because why not?
You're looking
at young guys. He's a young guy. He's younger than your other 2 goalies. It makes sense to give him more looks, and maybe he will benefit down the road from getting a few extra NHL games the rest of the way. Maybe.
He was steady for the first 2 periods of this game, and his third period kind of threw off my entire Kolosov topic. But like you said,
because it was a chaotic game.
Like
this third period was wild.
Third period came completely unglued. Like, I don't know, am I going to blame Kolosov for having a bad third when John Quick got like undressed 3 times? You know,
yeah, that one rebound he gave up. Where I mean, thank you for getting Matvei Michkov an assist in this dumpster fire of a game. But that rebound he gave up on that like distance nothing shot from Michkov to just hand the puck to Couturier, like. I don't think John Quick is cooked because the numbers over the last couple of years show that he's still pretty good. Yeah. This game, he looked like somebody who should retire tomorrow.
John Quick looked like somebody who is already on the golf course, and he sent his buddy. Like the scene in Good Will Hunting where he's like, I couldn't make it, so I sent my chief negotiator. And it's Ben Affleck like pretending to be Will. Like that's what it looked like in
Retainer.
Retainer. Like that's what it looked like tonight. Like, that wasn't John Quick. That was his buddy.
Yeah, right.
John Quick's golfing. He had a dinner reservation. He wasn't showing up tonight. Just a weird freaking game. I guess, like, I very much doubt that they can do this Kolosov thing again. Like, maybe the ultimate fate here is, okay, we're going to loan you back.
That's what I would do.
Call us when you're ready or not.
I would either trade him this summer and just like wash my hands of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Or I would say, we can't do this dumpster fire of a situation again where we're carrying 3 goalies because reasons. And you're clearly not yet good enough to be an NHL backup. So you're going back to the KHL, and we'll see where you are in a couple of years. Because this was... look, season's not over yet. This was also embarrassing. This goaltending situation on so many levels, both in terms of the way that the goalies played this year, but also the way it was handled. I wouldn't say that like Danny Briere should be embarrassed because I do think that it was a difficult situation and they wanted to they didn't want to give up on Kolosov. He was a top 10 prospect in the organization. I get it. They tried to make the best of a bad situation. I get that. But you can't repeat it next year. You have to come up with a new solution because you can't do this again because it was just so stupid. It ultimately, like, they even said on the broadcast, you know, like, I think it was Davidson, who was probably hearing this directly from someone in the Flyers organization, was like, yeah, and the Flyers think he would have been better off playing the AHL. And it's like, yeah of course they do, because we all think that.
Yes.
Now, he wouldn't do it, so I get why they didn't go that route. But if the organization, and they should, believe that that would have been the right route to take, and he's still not willing to do it next year, you got to come up with a solution that isn't, well, we'll just carry 3 goalies for 2/3 of the year. Like, you can't do that again.
No,
it doesn't work. Like, it doesn't help anyone.
If you do value him as a prospect, like, doing this again isn't going to help him develop. Like, he has to play somewhere, and I know you don't want him over there. You want him here. You are paying him.
It's better to have him over there and playing than whatever happened this year.
And honestly, you know, they seem to develop some decent goalies in the KHL, and the Flyers haven't ever, like, in my lifetime, developed a goaltender. So, like,
I'm not going to kill them for that.
I know.
New organization, new people, new development staff. I'm not going to kill them for that. But I'm less looking at it as the Flyers can't develop a goalie and more looking at it as this method of developing Kolosov will not develop him.
No, and like maybe he's better off over there. I have no idea. Do you think there is a world? And the answer is most likely no, Charlie.
Okay.
But I'm going to ask.
Okay.
Say he gets 2 more games this season.
Mm-hmm.
He looks steady the way he did in the first 2 periods of this one.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a world that next year is Karsen Kolosov and they waive Fedotov?
I mean, is there a world? Sure, there's a world. There's a world where the Flyers do dumb things. Now, that would be, I guess, let me put it this way. If their goal next year is to lose for McKenna, it is a smart move. Yeah, roll Karsen Kolosov next year and just basically, unless Ersson, because it's not going to be Kolosov, unless Ersson takes an enormous step forward next year and turns into the guy from the first half of last season, the goalies will be terrible and they will have a top 5 pick. That will happen. If they have designs on not doing that, then you can't do that because you are basically creating, at the most important position on the team, you are creating a situation that will hamstring the rest of the team. So unless you're trying to tank, which like, hey, if they're trying to tank, that's the way to do it. Unless they are trying to do that and they continue to tell us they are not trying to do that, you cannot in good conscience go back with Ersson and Kolosov. I don't even think you can in good conscience go back with Ersson Fedotov, but you certainly can't go back with Ersson Kolosov.
I think what makes it a possibility to me is I think there's no way Fedotov is a Flyers goalie to start next season. Maybe injuries and stuff. He goes through waivers. He comes up at some point, whatever. He has a nice little run in the AHL. Sure. But I don't think there's any world in which Fedotov is on the Flyers roster on opening night next year. And maybe they go, well, Kolosov, last couple of games we want to see. But no, the way I thought you just can't do it to the players that you're asking to go out and bust their ass every night and give them John Tortorella again. Like, you can't put them through this. Like, they're going to rebel at some point. They're going to end up looking like this Rangers team. I don't know if you can ask the boys to play in front of that kind of goaltending. Be like, we need you blocking every shot. We need you working hard. Also, we're going to lose every game 6-4. I don't know if you can ask them to do that. And
again, if you are tanking, it makes sense. But they have swore up and down they're not. So if you still hold to we're rebuilding, we're not tanking, and then you go out there with Ersson Kolosov, you are telling your team we're lying to you. You are.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing. You're telling your team that we are lying through our teeth.
And again, look at the Rangers. I don't think players like to be lied to. All right. Let's take a quick second so I can tell you about a couple of our sponsors. I have to lead it off with the Bet Parks online casino. That's right. Something I love about the Parks Casino, it's that Bet Parks app. It is outstanding, and it's all the games we love to play in person at Parks, like the pop culture slots, roulette, cards, dice games, and more. And it can all be played on the Bet Parks app. Say maybe you're stuck in an airport because your tiny little plane isn't there in time for your flight home. You got some time to kill. Guess what you can do? You can pop open that Bet Parks app and play some really fun slots like the Breaking Bad game, the Goonies game. There's a lot of really good stuff on there. So download the Bet Parks app and create an account today to receive an offer you can't pass up. New users are eligible to receive up to $1,000 back if you are down in the first 24 hours after signing up. Bet Parks Online Casino is available in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland, and Michigan. Terms and conditions apply. Parks Casino, this is how you won. This is how you win. Must be 21 and over. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. And, maybe that's your casino of choice, the online casino and all that. But guess what? It's Bet365 time. That's right, because that is my sports book of choice. That's where I do my online sports betting. Tonight, we had that over, and 1-0 after the first, 2-2 after the second. It wasn't looking great for that over 5.5, over 6, whatever you got it at. And then one positive that came out of that ridiculous third period, it was us getting that number. So that was real nice to see. But whatever you're betting on, futures, props, you can do it all at Bet365. And breaking news from Bet365, new customers can now get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5, win or lose. All you got to do is sign up, use code PHLY365, deposit $10, and place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets, whether your bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and physically located in PA. If you or someone who knows a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, so that's the goalie situation. It's the most likely thing this offseason is they go out and get some sort of steadying veteran presence.
It will tell us a lot about what they want out of next season. by what they do about the goaltending situation, because you seem like you're dismissing the possibility of them just rolling back with Ersson and Fedotov. I think it's possible. I think they could. Let me put it this way. It's the path of least resistance. It would be the easiest thing for them to do. They're both under contract for another year. Maybe they still think that Fedotov, well, you take those first 3 games out and he's like just a bad backup rather than a horrendous backup. And if Ersson's healthy all year, he'll be better. I could see them convincing themselves of that. I think it's the wrong move if you are trying to not tank. But I could see them convincing themselves that it is a decent move. So I'm not all there. I could see that being a thing. Now, my view is basically just centered around the fact that based on everything they've told me, they're going to do stuff this summer. That they are going to go out and they're going to make some trades. They're going to, try to be active in the offer sheet world, and they're going to try to do stuff. Now, are they going to try to turn this team into a cup contender overnight? No. This is not going to be the Paul Holmgren signed chemo team and Scott Hartnell and Danny Briere summer. They're not going to do that. But they are going to try to get better. And if they're actively trying to get better on the NHL team, you cannot do that and then also roll these goalies back. That's my view. Now, if you go out this summer and do nothing, and just, maybe you trade away Rasmus Ristolainen and then that's your summer, then you're setting yourself up for another tank year. And then I would have not really much of an issue with just rolling the dice on the goalies and hoping that one of those guys improves. But if you're going to do what I think they're going to do based on everything I've heard, which is they're going to try to make some moves and turn this around, at least get this going back in the positive direction again, then I think you have to supplement that by, at the very least, bringing in one new goalie.
Yeah, that's based on what I think they're going to do this summer. Yes. That's why I think there's no way Fedotov is the guy. That's it. Because he is, what's the point? One, but we've said that all year.
Right.
He's going to be 29 next year.
Right.
What's the upside here? And 2, why make the investment? Why invest in other stuff this offseason?
Exactly.
If you're gonna be but our goalies still.
If you're not gonna fix the goalies, there's almost no point to do anything else.
Yeah, just wait till both of their contracts are up, and then you have a whole big bag of money to play with in 2026, and fix everything all at once.
Exactly.
That's just how I see this going, but. It's the Flyers. Who the hell knows? Fedotov might be the number 1 by the time training camp starts.
Also, we already hit 100 likes.
Way to go, everybody. It's the road to 200. Like Ovi's on the road to 900 and then 1,000. We are now on the road to 100 or 200 likes. And with that, it's time for the Ace Hardware temperature check.
Okay.
Let's take a look at which Flyer is heating up or cooling off with our Ace Hardware temp check. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project. And it's got to be Tyson Foerster, obviously the hat trick tonight, but 6 goals in his last 5 games. He was really starting to get it going over the last couple of weeks. He now has 22 goals on the season in 77 games. The games played number, it's important to me because I love symmetry. He played 77 games last year. Landed on 20 exactly. So he has already beaten his goal total in the same number of games.
He's got 39 points now, I believe.
Yeah.
So he's almost cracking 40.
Back-to-back 20-goal seasons to start his career. And I saw Brandon Summerman tweet this earlier. He is the first Flyer to have 20 goals in each of his first 2 full NHL seasons since Simon Gagne. In 2000 and 2001, all Gagne's records are falling now. It's we finally have some good young players. It seems. Yeah. He was the highest scoring rookie since since 2000, and Michkov's already taken him down. Now Foerster, I look at Foerster and it's nice he met basically last year's production, and okay, he's already over what he did last year, goals and points wise. That's great. It's a step forward. It's maybe not the one we wanted to see him take, but it is at least, I will compare it to what we got out of Owen Tippett last year, where he has 1 more goal, a few more points, I think, production basically the same, and it's okay, cool. Now that's something, we know what your baseline is now. We can safely say, Tyson Foerster, 20-goal scorer. You do it twice in a row, I give you the label. What does the next step look like for him, you think? He's getting more PK time now since the trades.
Yeah, I'd like that.
I think they've always wanted to do that.
He's a really good defensive player. It
yeah.
makes sense that he would be on the penalty kill.
What do you think like the next step is for him? Just adding to the repertoire, figuring out how to get more shots off? Because you see that shot tonight. I mean, the wrist shot, a freaking laser that just, I mean, John Quick, say what you want about him. Really good. Blows it by him. And then the one-timer, like, real nice. What is it? What's next for him?
Well, I do think you may be selling him a little short by just talking about the goals, because what you have to remember is like he's putting up just decent numbers while also driving play among like the best players in not even on the team. Like he drives play extremely well. He's a very good 5-on-5 even strength guy. His isolated expected goal impact numbers are through the roof good. They were last year. They are again this year. So what we're talking about right now is we're talking about a guy who has a baseline of 20-ish goals, 40-ish points, and high-end defensive play driving impacts. That's a good player. Because I don't know if those underlyings are going to get any better, like a lot of times you look at a guy, who's young, and you're like, well, he could improve by becoming better defensively. He can improve by being a better two-way player. I think that's there with Foerster. So the good news is it's there and it's real. The bad news is like, I don't know how much more he can get better at that. He's already real good at that. That pretty much just leaves the scoring.
Yeah.
He needs to produce more points. Now, like everyone on the team, including Michkov, everyone's point totals would look better if the power play was functional. So, like, if you just get a power play coach who can take advantage of the talent they have on hand, the point totals will probably get better naturally. Maybe not through the roof for someone like Foerster, but better. Would squeeze out maybe another 4 or 5 goals just by having a better power play, another 4 or 5 assists. So suddenly he's a 25-50 guy rather than a 20-40 guy. If he wants to get better than that, though, I think you're absolutely right. He needs to shoot more. But I don't watch him play and say, this is a guy who passes up shots. I watch him play and I say, this is a guy who doesn't get himself into shooting areas enough, which I think goes back to really the underlying problem here, which is the skating. If he wants to improve and he wants to become a better all-around scorer, he needs to not become fast, but just get a little bit faster, just like a half step. The way Couturier got a little bit faster in his mid-20s, and that helped him turn from a 40-point guy into a 75-point guy. I just need him to work a little bit more on the skating. Can he do it? I don't know. Maybe this is as good as he's going to get. But if he's going to become a 30-goal a year guy, I think it's going to have to come because skating gets better.
Because in the preseason, we talked about Tippett and Foerster, and I wanted to see Foerster have a Tippett-like shot total this season. I wanted to see him ripping it nonstop, and that's not really what happened. And
no.
Tonight, I think I saw a perfect example of at least why that part of his game hasn't come along yet. It's the Owen Tippett. He didn't score. It's not the play he scored on. That was an empty netter. Cool. But Tippett has the puck. He's like on the left side of the offensive zone and just skates across, gets the puck on his forehand, and rips a shot. He's all the way over now on the right side, inside the right circle. Created the shot himself. Listen, Tippett he's my most disappointing player this season, probably. But that is the play that I have yet, I think, to see like Tyson Foerster make, where he is creating the shot.
And it's much easier for Owen Tippett to create his shot because
he can
he's a great
outskate a guy.
skater.
Yeah. And that's the difference to me in a guy with 200 shot attempts or 400 shot attempts. Yeah. That's what it comes down to, I guess. But yeah, I'm like the baseline of the underlyings. Remember last year at a certain point, it was like, listen, defensive models, it's tough to know how accurate they are, but all the other names on this list are dudes who we think are awesome defensive players. And Tyson Foerster's like number 2 in a lot of these numbers. And it's like that is, with the 20 goals, his baseline. And I just wonder like how much more offensively can we get out of him? Like watching that play with Tippett, I was like, that's it. He's
going to be a valuable player.
Oh, yeah.
Like, even if he doesn't, and this is going to frustrate people, even if he doesn't get any better than he is now, he's a valuable player.
Definitely.
Because having a 20-goal scorer who can play in your middle six and drive play to a ridiculous degree and be really good defensively and hopefully over time become a darn good penalty killer too, it's a valuable player. It's probably a guy who's always going to be more valuable than how much money he gets paid against the cap. It's my same belief about Noah Cates. But I would love to see him turn 20 goals a year into 30 to 35 goals a year. That would be amazing. And I do think it's in there, at least from a shooting standpoint and from a hockey IQ standpoint. He just needs to get a little bit quicker, I think. Or they need to get a super great elite playmaking center who can set him up on the power play and also set him up at 5-on-5, where all he has to do is like Jonathan Cheechoo his way up the ice and then put the puck in the net.
And that's when you were saying, like, you know, and this is the issue with like the whole team, like everyone's points totals will go up with the power play. Noah Cates, from a checking, play driving standpoint, and listen, his offense opened up again this year. We saw him do what he did 2 years ago, and it's okay. That's some nice production, but it's not top six. It's not impressive. Like, oh yeah, this guy's he's the reason, you know, some of his players have 10 extra points. If you get Foerster, a playmaking center, obviously the point totals go up. But he has to put himself in position to be in that top six as well. Absolutely. Right now, that line is the Flyers. Like, well, the Coots line has been really good.
Yeah.
But this is the line that they're using so much in this role that how much when you're up against the toughest competition every night and not with a super offensive skilled center are you going to score? So I do think he can take it to a little bit more, but getting that center puts him over the top, I think.
Sure, and that's the case for quite a few guys in this team.
Absolutely.
I mean, imagine, I like michkov with Couturier, especially now that Couturier is no longer getting the toughest matchups on the team because Cates is taking those. I like that duo. I would really like it if michkov was with a high-end offensive center, though. That would be really, really cool, and they just don't have him yet. Hopefully they get him at some point over the next couple of years.
They do not, and it is now time for tonight's keyword. That's right, our end of season t-shirt giveaway keyword. All you have to do to enter to win a free PHLY Flyers t-shirt, once you hear me say the keyword, you DM it either to the PHLY Flyers Twitter or the PHLY Flyers Blue Sky. Either one works. I write all the names down of people who entered. I put them in a bucket and I pick one out. We'll pick a winner on tomorrow's show. Tonight's keyword: hat trick for Tyson Foerster. Technically 2 words. Sorry. Tonight's keyword: hat trick. Again, DM the PHLY Flyers Twitter or the PHLY Flyers Blue Sky account.
It'd be really good if that
win a shirt.
hat trick Patrick won for hat trick.
Oh, that would be cool.
I don't even know if hat trick Patrick is watching, but that name just sticks in my head.
It would be cool.
Yeah.
All right. Owen Tippett.
Owen Tippett
gets the long-distance empty netter.
It was a nice shot.
It was.
Grant him that. It was a really nice shot.
He goes bar down on it, like, you know, from the opposite blue line, empty netter. Was nice, but it also gets him to that 20-goal mark, and majorly disappointing from a production standpoint to me from Owen Tippett this year. Really wanted to see him make that jump from 27, 28 to 30, mid-30s, you know. Was just hoping to see it. Bright side, well, maybe he does it in a year that actually matters. That would be fine when he has that one just crazy year that goal scorers tend to have. But he breaks the 20-goal mark, and I do think that's important for a guy just in terms of confidence. Like, he can, all right, man, 3-time 20-goal scorer. I know what I am, and I know what I have to get better at, but
19's an ugly number for a goal scorer.
You got to get to 20. You can't be a guy paid to score goals, because how often do we say about Owen Tippett, like, yeah, he can have those games where he's like the best player on the ice, but, you know, those shifts where you just go, man, he's got everything. Yeah. But really, when Owen Tippett isn't scoring goals, he's not doing much for you. Mm-hmm. If you don't break 20, it's like, well,
what are you doing?
What would you say you do here? There's plenty of time to talk about his season as a whole, but just like the tools, this is what drives me nuts. Like, I can point to Tyson Foerster and be like, well, he can't do that thing that Owen Tippett does, and that's the difference to me right now. There's nothing other than like just hit the net I can point to with Owen Tippett that I'm like, well, this is what's holding him back. Like, what is his problem, Charlie? Like, why isn't he just better, considering he's real big, he's real fast, and he can absolutely rip the freaking puck?
Well, the big thing for me this year, if we're talking about Owen Tippett, is that dude needs to shoot more.
And also no power play goals, so there's that.
Last year, he was one of the highest volume shooters in the NHL. This year, he's just a guy. Like, I know that some people get very angry with the whole, like, well, he misses the net all the time. Well, if you shoot a lot, you're going to miss the net a lot. Like, could he be more accurate? Sure. But I'd rather him miss the net a lot if it just means he's going to hit the net more just from a raw volume standpoint. I don't think he was assertive enough this year. I don't think he was assertive enough carrying the puck to the high danger areas, which I want to see him do more of because he's a big guy who can take contact and score in that way. But I also don't think he was assertive enough with the puck. I want him shooting more. I want him shooting like he did last year.
He spent a lot of the season with Michkov, and we spent plenty of time just saying, like, I just don't know if they fit because you want the puck on Misha's stick so he can create opportunities, either putting the puck on net himself or creating for his teammates.
True.
You want him to get as many touches as possible. Owen Tippett, it's different, but it's the same. Like, you want him carrying the puck and ripping him himself, the way Torts told TK on that 2-on-1 when he passed to Michkov. Like, you ignore him and you make it a 1-on-0. Stop it. That's kind of our Sixers crew out. Both teams with tank issues tonight. See you guys later. But, like, Tippett, do you think that was part of it, like deferring to Mish or just not having enough touches because they were out there together a lot? Like, do you think that's part of it this season? And, of course, again, no power play goals. Well, that's going to – you add his average power play goals to what he has, and boom, he's at his normal number. He didn't take a step forward, but at least he's at a respectable number of 28.
I'll be honest with you, Bill. No,
Okay.
I do not think. I don't think it had much to do with him deferring to Michkov. I really don't. I think this is a Tippett problem. I don't think this is I'm trying to be a good teammate and get Michkov the ball, because Michkov is a great passer too. Michkov had, there were multiple goals this year that Tippett scored that were basically gift wrapped by Michkov. So no, I'm not going to let him off the hook by saying that it's him trying to be too nice to Michkov. I just see a guy who wasn't as assertive as he can be. Last year, he finished with 289 shots on goal. This year, he's at 171 going into tonight.
With what? Oh, yeah.
So he had shots tonight, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But
still like 175 tops.
He's not going to break 200.
No.
He's not going to break 200. This is a guy who needs to break 200. I almost wonder if he was paying too much to his critics, who were like, oh, he hits the plexiglass too much. Like, no, dude, hit the plexiglass all the time. Shoot all the time. Do that. That's your game. Do it. That's what makes you an interesting player.
And that's I know I'm as guilty of it as anyone, just in terms of hit the net a little more. But I will say also, a goal scorer especially, shoot, and hitting the goalie in the logo is the same as missing the net. I guess he can drop it and there's a rebound and whatever, but he is not trying to get it directly in the center of the net because that's a save every single time. He is trying to pick a spot. He is trying to hit a place where he doesn't think the goalie can get to it, and sometimes that means you miss. Yes, it does seem as if when he is in a little bit of a rut, he misses constantly. That is, I think, a valid criticism, but I know we reference it all the time, but that scene in Moneyball where it's I could even take a few more strikes, but since I'm taking the pitches, I'm going to get on base more. It's even if you're missing the net a little more, you're going to score 30. So it's cool if you miss the net 12 extra times or something. I don't know.
I think my view of the Tippett misses the net too much thing is that it's not incorrect that he could stand. I'm talking about the version of Owen Tippett from last year.
Yes.
This version of Owen Tippett is not the best version of Owen Tippett we've seen. The version of Owen Tippett from last year, could he have been more accurate? Yes. But it wasn't the big, glaring, oh my God, 5-alarm fire problem that some people made it out to be. Last year, he hit the net with 53.1% of his shots. That ranked in the middle of the pack amongst NHL forwards, 224th out of 414. Could it be better? Yes. It would be great if he hit the net with 60% of his shots, if he was in the top 100 out of 414 forwards. But middle of the pack doesn't equal it's the biggest problem in the world that we need to freak out about all the time. And I do wonder if maybe Tippett
That's interesting.
took a problem. He thought the problem was bigger than it actually was. He bought into the BS surrounding all that because the coaching staff, I remember I was on the trip, the first trip of the year, and Tortorella was grumbling about how much Tippett misses the net. And like, yes, he could stand to be more accurate, but I wonder if maybe he was focusing too much on being more accurate and then lost what made him interesting in the first place.
And this is one we say, like, John Tortorella is just as reactionary as any fan.
Yeah.
And maybe that, part of the reason he wears on players is that. And like, we always say, like, goal scorers are streaky and everyone wants one until you have one and then he annoys you.
Yes.
Like, unless you have Ovechkin, yeah, sure. If you have a guy who's going to score 900 goals, you're probably pretty happy.
Yeah.
But this is what goal scorers do. I mean, if you just type in, like, Jeff Carter on Twitter, I bet you get a whole lot of misses the net references.
Yes.
And it's like, this is what goal scorers do. They take a lot of shots and a lot of them go in, but a lot of them don't.
To take a lot of shots means you're going to miss a lot too.
You're going to miss as well. Like, you don't hit home runs without striking out.
Right.
It's just kind of the way it goes.
Yeah.
It's something I have definitely criticized him for, but I also understand, like, it's going to happen. It could happen less, like you said. But that's an interesting... I wonder if he is taking that criticism to... If it's from the coaches, it's like, well, what can he do? It's what the coach is telling him to do.
It's what the coach wants you to do. But I just
the coach is also insane.
I just think that it's a minor problem that was blown up to be a huge problem, and I wonder if that pushed Tippett in the wrong direction for his development, at least this season.
All right. Let's take another minute to tell you about just a couple of our sponsors. 1-800-588-2300 Empire
Today.
Oh, yes. It's been a little while. I'm glad you got it, Chuck. Empire Today. Listen, there's a lot of reasons to go with Empire. I'll read you the discount and everything at the end, like I always do. But it really comes down to Empire Today has flooring experts. Experts who are dedicated flooring professionals and who focus on flooring every single day. Listen, we've all been to those big box stores. You wander all the aisles and then, somehow you're hauling all these materials home yourself. You're looking for an installer and you're kind of just coordinating everything all on your lonesome. And those big box stores, even if they have that flooring department, the person helping you, with your flooring, they might have been doing sinks yesterday. They could be stocking light bulbs tomorrow. They could be, bringing orders out to people's cars, whatever. They are not flooring experts, and that's why you have to go with Empire Today. It is the absolute best bet for a new floor. Empire Today lives and breathes flooring, and they will be with you every step of the way. It is a whole different ball game, and their flooring experts bring the showroom right to your home. You can pick the right flooring and the right colors for your space and see how it all looks in your furniture, with your furniture or house. All you have to do is check out their online installation service. So schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home. PHLY listeners can receive a $350 discount when using promo code PHLY. Yes, that's right, a $350 discount with code PHLY. Restrictions apply. Visit EmpireToday.com/PHLY for details. All right, and while we are here, I got to tell you about our friends at Rothman. That's right. Let's talk about what's getting you back to what you love. Maybe you're a weekend warrior or you're just trying to keep up with your kids. You know how tough it is when your body doesn't cooperate, and that's where Rothman Orthopedic comes in, whether it's pain from playing your favorite sport, it's an old injury, or it's just age catching up to you. Rothman's team of experts is here to help with evidence-based care and a mission to restore your mobility. They'll get you back on your feet and back to doing what you love. Don't let pain hold you back. Visit RothmanOrtho.com/PHLY to schedule your appointment today and get back to being your best self. Rothman Orthopedics, we're getting back to your game is their mission. All right. Before we do 3 stars, Charlie, I saw you had an interesting tweet about Karsen Dowart during the game. I didn't think he stood out all that much outside of a couple plays. What'd you think of?
I thought he had a rough game.
Rough game?
Yeah, I thought he would. Well, he was
he was
directly involved He was directly involved in 2 goals
Yeah.
against. One was more bad luck than anything else. That was a deflection off the Brzezinski goal where he's trying to deflect it out of play. It skies over his stick and just flips right over Kolosov's shoulder. Like, yeah, I mean, I guess he could have played that better, but that's just kind of bad luck. However, the turnover he makes on the power play on the half boards that leads to the Zibanejad to Trocheck shorthanded breakaway, that's on him. That's just a mistake. He needs to be harder on that puck. He still played with energy. I liked the jump he had again. He does seem like an energetic player, but this was very much oh yeah, he was playing in a college hockey game like a week and a half ago type of game for Karsen Dowart.
Pretty cool start to his career, Bell Center and the train station. Not bad. Not bad.
2 of the prestige arenas in hockey, to be sure.
Absolutely. All right. Now it is time for Charlie O'Connor's 3 stars of the game, presented by Rite Aid. That's right. It's those Rite Aid 3 stars. Charlie, this was a wild, ridiculous game, especially third period. So who do you have for tonight's 3rd star?
Well, I'm actually going to go with a Ranger.
Okay.
Because Bill, there was only one player in this game that had 4 points, and it was a Ranger. It was Mika Zibanejad. Now, he didn't finish on that early penalty shot, but he lived up to his reputation as a Flyers killer. Getting 4 points in a game against the Flyers is going to make those career numbers look even better when we bring those up. When in a future betting segment you bet Mika Zibanejad, over under half a point in this game. That Forrest's game will add to it. So Mika Zibanejad, 3rd star.
Absolutely. When the game starts with a penalty shot that the ultimate Flyers killer just misses the net, it's like, this is going to be an annoying game, isn't it? And it certainly was. Who is star number 2?
Star number 2, I'm going to go with a guy who justifiably in the second half of the season has gotten some grief from fans and us, Travis Sanheim. He is almost certainly going to win the Ashby Trophy for Best Flyers Defenseman. He did not have a great second half. Tonight was a game where he reminded everyone why he deserves that award. The third period, look, the Rangers were pathetic and they fell apart, but I thought Travis Sanheim was maybe the best player on the ice for both teams in that third period. He opens the scoring, gets that first goal. That pass he uses to set up Tyson Foerster, which is basically like the clinching goal. I know there were like 3 more goals the rest of the way, but like that's the goal where you're like, yeah, unless the Flyers choke this away, they're winning this game. Sanheim was great. He finishes with 27-39 in terms of total minutes. He was a horse in this game. That was like straight up like when Cam York was injured types of time on ice metrics. He was moving around. He was activating. He was making plays. He was blocking shots. Strong game overall from Travis Sanheim. 2nd star.
27. My God. All right. And tonight's 1st star of the game.
1st star of the game is Tyson Foerster.
Yeah, I mean.
You got the hat trick.
Hat trick
for Tyson Foerster.
Hats off for Tyson. Listen, congratulations, Tyson. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Scored a hat trick in MSG, eliminated the Rangers. I know we're going to get to the Tankathon spin in a second, and we're not all exactly rooting for the Flyers to win. Some people still are. I have heard from plenty of people in the DMs, on the timeline, whatever, who are like, I don't care about the draft odds. It's a lottery. I root for the Flyers. Sure. It's a conversation I used to have during the process era when I was on the overnight with Big Daddy Graham once a week. He'd be like, listen, I understand, but when a Sixers player puts a shot up, I cannot root for it to miss. Like, it's just not, like, it is not in me. And I very much, like, I understand that line of thinking. So for the people out there who are celebrating, there is a silver lining. Rangers eliminated, embarrassed on, Sam Rosen, local announcers, honoring him night, whatever. So that's all. That's pretty cool. All right, let's get to the Tankathon spin. Let's see if their odds have changed at all. I haven't actually looked at it. Are they still in that 4 spot?
Well, this was before the game, I would assume. They haven't updated it.
Tankathon updates pretty quickly, but at a certain point in the night.
There we go. Now we're 5.
Okay, so they're at 5.
Because I did the numbers before the show. While the Flyers do drop behind Boston after this win, they are still 5th.
Okay.
So right now they are close to Seattle, but Seattle still has the higher points pace right now.
They do. All right. So without further ado, Brenna, spin that wheel. All right, and they
stay in fifth.
They stay at 5, which is more than acceptable.
Looks just like this was chalk.
I
San Jose gets number 1, Chicago gets number 2. Everybody stays where they're supposed to.
It's what, like, it's crazy because the odds are against it. Like, the odds are against things going chalk. Like, when you're in the 5 hole, you have much better chance of picking 6th than you do of picking 4th or picking 5th. Like, just the way it goes. It's very strange, but I guess that's why they do a lottery to deter tanking. It sure seems to be working with San Jose and Chicago up there at the top again. All right.
It's always a conspiracy. Regardless of who wins, it's a conspiracy.
At the draft lottery show, I'm going to go through every single team and why there is a conspiracy for them that will keep the Flyers from winning it and hopefully reverse jinx it. But I've been working on every team's conspiracy. All right. Before we get to the super chats, I just want to talk about TK and Sanheim going to the World Championships. I always like to talk to you about World Championships because you hate them so much. The World Championships. They're just so pointless.
I think they're such a waste of time.
We saw today that Sanheim and TK are going to be headed there. I think they're in Sweden and Denmark. They start in May, like early May, I think. Now, they'll have a few weeks off before that, and we know why it's important this year. These guys, I think you pointed out on Twitter, we said it, like, they are on the bubble of the Olympic team.
Right.
TK especially, like, yeah, man, if he was playing in the top 9, scored a couple of goals at 4 Nations, maybe he's in. But that's not the way it went for TK.
He literally didn't play in the championship.
Like, he was a scratch. He needs to continue to impress the Team Canada coaches. But I'm just looking at, like, you know, I have theorized that there's something up with TK since the first half of the season, where they even said on the broadcast, like, 20 goals in the first 41 and like 4 or 5 since then. Like, not exactly 4. Yeah, he's at 24 goals now. Not going great. And Sanheim, like, 27-38 tonight. He is just such a freaking workhorse. It's hard to believe that he doesn't just want to, like, chill for a couple of weeks. But it's an Olympic year. So that's the difference, I guess.
That is 100% the difference, because these guys want to represent their country at the Olympics. Of course they do. It's the Olympics. They haven't been to the Olympics in like a decade. And
that's it's not as if this this is in all likelihood their only chance. Like, when you look at
these guys, probably.
Yeah, like 4 years from now, they're going to be in their early mid-30s. Yeah. Like, it's just it's unlikely. You know, it's unlikely right now. Maybe not for Sanheim, but TK is on the outside looking in, right?
He
has a chance.
Sanheim, I think, at this point has a better chance than Konecny, just because they came away, according to all of the insiders' reports, Team Canada came away very impressed with Travis Sanheim's versatility and his ability to take up different roles on that team if necessary, play lesser minutes and still have a positive impact. So it seems like they are higher on Sanheim. That said, Sanheim didn't have a fantastic second half, so that kind of helped his stock coming out of 4 Nations. But it seems like he probably has a leg up in Konecny. Both those guys are going to have to earn their way onto the team in the first half of next season, and this summer not do anything to rub the decision makers the wrong way. And it's become very clear that the decision makers view participation in the World Championships to be something that helps your case if you go, but definitely hurts your case maybe even more if you blow it off.
If you tell them, nah, they're like, oh, okay. Like
you don't care about the country.
Listen, Sidney Crosby can say no.
Sure.
But
the big guys can.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just different rules.
If you're one of these guys who may or may not make the team, you want to give it a shot. So I do wonder, like, if you could sit Briere down, like, especially if they are going to have the kind of off season that we think they're going to have, like, rest up, boys. You know, like, if he had his way, would he tell them go rest up?
Probably.
Or as a former player, like, players want to play. I wouldn't do anything else. Like, I want guys who want to go out there and compete, and they are disappointed they're not in the playoffs. You are going to have to learn to play more than 82 games at some point, and a lot of the dudes on this team never have, or it's been a while, or they've only done it once or twice, you know? Maybe it's not the worst thing in the world. That's something I think I could convince myself of if I'm Danny Briere. Like, I would like them to rest up and come into next season as healthy as possible, as rested as possible. But ultimately, these are the guys who were going to kind of need to lead us, and they've never had a long playoff run.
You're not going to convince me of that
Okay.
because I think this tournament is a waste of everyone's time.
I know, you just hate the tournament.
I hate the tournament. It shouldn't exist. The idea that it gets decided by which team has the most players who didn't go far in the playoffs, in the NHL playoffs, like, it's bonkers to me that we put any stock in this tournament at all. So you will never convince me of that argument. That said, a lot of this in my mind just depends on whether like Konecny or Sanheim, and pretty much I'm talking about Konecny because he's the one who I think is probably more banged up than the other. If Konechny's not going to need surgery, not going to need any sort of cleanup, then like whatever. If it's not going to hurt his offseason that much, then yeah, go ahead and play. And yeah, it's probably not ideal, but if getting healthy is just going to be you have to basically do nothing for 6 weeks and let the thing heal, it's not the end of the world if the active portion of your training summer starts at the beginning of July versus the middle of June. It's not going to kill you. That said, if Konechny's going to need some type of surgery in the summer and he puts that off because he's trying to get in the good graces of Team Canada, and I'm Danny Briere, yeah, I'm a little annoyed. I'm not going to necessarily stop him because the Olympics are the Olympics, but I'm going to be annoyed.
Just to clarify, other than you've said, like, he gets treatment a lot after games, we don't have any, like, evidence that he's injured. No. He might be hurt, but that's hockey.
You're the one who has been perpetuating this theory.
It's just my belief because, like, his shot number, all that stuff, like, I just don't see another reason for things.
This has not been reported by anyone. This is entirely speculation, and you've said it enough that maybe you convince yourself that it was reported by someone.
And, like, I've said it enough that I've seen other people say it, and, like, I'm not a genius who came up with this himself. See a guy score 20 goals in 41 games, and then 4, you go, something's the matter. Fair. It's not crazy, but I just don't want anyone to be like, well, Bill Matt said he's hurt. Like, I don't know Travis Konecny. We don't talk much, you know? Like, all right, let's get to the super chats. Only a couple tonight, and they're both from our pal Gary. What would we do without you, Gary B? How would I kill the final 3 minutes of this show without our friend Gary? All right, I would have been okay with a 4-3 loss, though, but prefer reasons for optimism for next year. Coley tried his best to aid the tank. Yeah, it really, I was like, is this guy going to be our tank killer through the first 2 periods? And then it all kind of fell apart there in the third. But the entire game felt like, I can say that, but like, I can't fault either goalie. It was just like, it was 40 guys out there who just lost their minds for the final 20 minutes of this game. That's what happened. But yeah, I mean, a loss would certainly be preferable in terms of lottery odds. But what do you think about finishing the season strong? Like, we got to the point with Morgan Frost where it was like, yeah, the first half he's useless, and then he scores a bunch at the end, and you look at his numbers, go, oh, they're okay. And there was a little bit of like, yeah, after they're eliminated and it doesn't matter. Like Tyson Foerster, the hat trick tonight, he's been really good, like 5 goals in his last 5 games. Do you put any stock in like, yeah, once it doesn't matter, who cares? Or is it, he finished strong and that's a good sign?
Not really. In all honesty, the 2 reasons why I'm the most happy that he's scoring goals at the end of the year. Number 1, because I think it'll just make him feel better about his season. Maybe it gives him a little bit of a jump going into the offseason of like, yeah, I can still be real good. I don't think he's a guy that lacks confidence, but it can't hurt to feel a little bit better about yourself going into the offseason. The other reason is entirely selfish because Tyson Foerster is a good player, and I don't enjoy debating with people who think he's a bad player. And if he finishes the year with 24 goals instead of 18 goals, then I have more ammo to be like, he's a good player, and I have fewer people yelling at me that he sucks.
If you think he's a bad player, that's crazy. If you think like I need a little more out of him, I'm here for that argument. And, you know, 2 straight 20-goal years start. Like, this is his baseline now. We'd like to see it improve. Like to see more. But like, if you think he's bad, like, Charlie, just hit the mute button, man. Hit the mute button. A lot. Hit the mute button.
It's a pretty liberal usage. Don't worry.
Okay. All right. And then the second one from Gary B here, before we wrap up, says, Rangers are not eliminated officially. Habs need 1 point to eliminate the Rangers.
Okay.
I did see.
They're dead. It's over.
It's
over.
The Rangers basically needed
get the gravestone, get the shovels. It's over. They're cooked. They're awful.
The Rangers needed to win out, and they now won't.
Yes.
And the Habs need a point.
I don't know for sure if they were officially eliminated. This was the death of the Rangers tonight. I don't care what the math says. They're dead.
if you watch that game, they weren't alive in the third period. If they thought they were like, no, we quit.
Time of death was whenever the final buzzer sounded in this game.
We think we've seen the Flyers quit. I don't know if I've seen anything like that.
That was
I mean, they did lose to that team 9-0 once, so I guess.
And then they lost.
I suppose.
Then they lost to them again like a week later at a similar score.
All right.
That was fun. What a time.
I guess we're going to overtime to wrap the show.
Sure.
All right. It's overtime, but it's overtime.
It's overtime.
That's all the time we have for you
guys.
on PHLY Flyers postgame presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Kelly and I will get you through tomorrow's show at 4 p.m. We are off Friday, and then tune in for the weekend pre and posts for those back-to-backs. Make sure you're following us right here on YouTube. Set the reminder bell so you never miss a live show. Follow us on Twitter at PHLY_Flyers, and follow the podcast wherever you get those. Just search PHLY Flyers. I am Bill Matz. That is Charlie O'Connor. Until tomorrow, roll on Tank.
We all silly like the mayor.